Hi. That's better. I'm Debra Birnbaum. I'm the executive editor of TV for Variety. It's my pleasure to introduce the Mr. Robot panel. What do you guys think? So I have to start by telling you a little story. About like 9 months ago, Chris McCumber, who's the president of USA, emailed me and he's like, look, I gotta ask you a favor. Can I send you a pilot to take a look at and let me know what you think? And I was sort of like, oh God, here we go again. It's sort of the thing that fills me with dread because I'm like, what do I do if I don't like it? So he sent me the pilot. I sort of stalled. I stuck it in my DVR, and I was obsessed. And it was just, long story short, of course, it was Mr. Robot. I couldn't email him back faster, and I was like, put this thing on the air, and I can't wait to see it. So here we go. It's my pleasure to introduce to you the cast of Mr. Robot. Let's start with Christian Slater, who plays Mr. Robot.
Thank you.
Rami Malek plays Elliot Alderson. Carly Chaikin plays Darlene. And Portia Doubleday plays Angela Moss. So now that I've told how I discovered Mr. Robot's story, I would like to know how you discovered Mr. Robot. Christian, let's start with you. How'd you find out about this project?
Let's see. I heard about it through my agent. He sent me the script. I read it. I thought it was very fascinating. I had some questions about it, and then I met with Sam and Chad and Nils, the director, and we had a nice meeting. I asked him a couple of these questions, and what really made me very happy was that he gave great answers. And I guess they were the answers that I was really excited to hear because I got very excited about it. But then he even went a little deeper and a little further and shared some things with me, and I just got even that much more excited.
What were the questions?
Yeah, I can't tell you.
We're going to be doing a lot of that, I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Rami?
What was the question?
What made? How'd you find out about the show?
How did I find? Oh, I got the script, and I think I got the script in my email, and I took a look at it. I started reading. Just after the first page, after the opening monologue, I knew it was something fresh and different. I was kind of hooked right away. I just wanted to keep turning the pages, and once I did, I felt like I had something really special in my hands, and then took the next step. What? Is that funny? It's your turn. So I'm just gonna laugh at you now.
Well, I was going to lunch one day and saw the script on the floor, on the side of the street, and picked it up, and it was Mr. Robot.
There you go. I like that answer.
Very nice. Yeah.
Portia, what about you?
Okay. I got the script and I felt the same. I hadn't read a pilot like that in a really long time, or writing like that in a really long time. And yeah, I just gravitated towards, both of our characters actually. I wanted to audition for Darlene as well. And I don't know. I was like, I think we were all kind of hooked from the start.
I actually read the script for my real answer, originally with them asking me to go in for Angela. And so then, but reading it, I was like, this is the best pilot I've probably ever read in my life. And then I ended up going in for Angela and Darlene, and we all know the end result.
Which one are you?
Angela.
Now that we've straightened that out. Talk about working with Sam. What's that like?
What?
Who wants to take that?
Rami, why don't you start?
How was it working with? It's fun. Sam comes in. He knows. Obviously, he's written everything. He's oversees everything. He has a very precise outlook on the way his story is going to unfold, and so he's a great leader from that respect. Not only, has he written it, but he has a certain aesthetic in mind for the entire show. He knows where all of our characters are going. So it's nice to be, under his helm. And then he allows us to contribute to a certain degree. In that he's told me after a certain while, you're going to take over these characters, more so than I'm going to be able to understand them. They become your own. And I think it takes someone who's very mature to kind of give that up to a certain degree. Not give you the entire reins for your role, but to open it up to you to be able to grow as much as he is with each character as well. Thanks.
Working with Sam has been such an incredible experience because I think as an actor, the most important thing to have is a director that you trust. And, even though Sam doesn't direct every episode, but he is always there, and he is someone that I definitely trust, where when he says we got it, I believe him. And I think that's really important to have, but also he's just, obviously from, watching this and him writing it, he's incredibly intelligent and, very, bless you. It's just amazing to have someone on set that you can go to when you don't understand something or are confused about something, or, doing a scene with someone that you want to work on it, and he's right there to kind of lead the way.
I don't imagine that any of you were hackers before you took on these roles. So how much research did you do before you took on these parts?
Wow. Well, I did learn when I first got the script. The first scene that we had to shoot together was the Ferris wheel scene, and that was the first day. They just threw us in the cage together for 8 hours, and so it was me, Rami, and a cameraman, really, just going around and around in circles that day. And there was definitely a lot of technical jargon, at least, in the draft of the script that I had read, and, I wanted to impress everybody and show my skills and knowledge that I had it all down, and I guess it was 2 days before we were going to shoot that scene. I came in and I met with Rami, and we were reading through it and with Sam, and then they of course came in with all the rewrites, saying that the technical information that was in there was already outdated and old. So that was my experience with that.
Yeah, I did not envy you that day, and that scene was about twice as long. It got quite a bit got cut out of there.
Yes, definitely.
Not because you messed up the technical lingo.
Yeah, that may be why.
No, it wasn't at all. But yeah, it was a lot to take. That can be the trickiest thing. Is he wants to get the technical aspect so precise, so accurate. Sam does that. There will be last-second changes, and once you throw in the words rootkit and DDoS attack, and then you flip that on honeypot, and then that all gets changed on the day. It can be a little jarring and difficult to sort out, but we started to figure out how to do that. But none of us are hackers, right? Are you?
I got Hacking for Dummies. Because I was reading this other hacking book. I've always thought it was so cool to, if I was playing a hacker and then became a really incredible hacker on my own, which is still the goal. But I got this book and I read the first 5 pages 25 times to understand it. And then my boyfriend's dad actually was like, you should get Hacking for Dummies as a joke. But I was like, brilliant, and ordered it. But it is fascinating because it's so hard and complex, and I think I didn't really understand how much is involved, and it's really like a foreign language. So it really feels like having to learn an actual other language.
I don't hack.
No, I was gonna say you don't have to hack, but you still have to talk. The talk.
Well, I was relieved because, in the first episode, Angela says, what's a rootkit? And I was like, score! Because she's an account exec, so I kind of got to escape that a little bit. But I still think it's, it's really interesting. And so I did like a little bit of research, but coding, all that stuff, like right over my head.
But one of the things I love about your characters is you're sort of our way into this world, because I think you sort of get to ask the questions that the audience has in a lot of scenes.
Yeah, I definitely feel that way about Angela. I mean, I think that she definitely represents just kind of the corporate world. And, I like straight out of law school and really hopeful and optimistic, and also, really naive to a certain degree. And so you kind of just, I guess, you can go along with the ride as she kind of progresses into the mess that is the corporate world, in my opinion. Certain aspects of it, and I think she definitely is a way into that world.
Other than being in the Ferris wheel for 8 hours, how did the two of you develop your chemistry? Or was that sort of, step one to building that relationship?
For me, it was love at first sight.
I can see that.
Saw the guy across the room, and then getting to do that scene together.
Essentially our first date.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. I mean, how much more romantic could that be? You go to the Ferris wheel at Coney Island and just ride around hour after hour.
Hour after hour.
Gazing into each other's eyes.
Staring out into the sunset.
Yeah, we did. I mean, that was really the deal.
We should do that once a year.
We really should. It should be a tradition. Once a year, yeah. Let's do it more. That'd be great. So, I mean, I just felt good. And he's also, the amount of work that he's had to do with these episodes that we've shot has been, daunting and incredible. And, he's really set a phenomenal level and bar for everybody to sort of rise to the occasion. I mean, incredibly committed, incredibly professional, and it's been refreshing and fantastic to get to do scenes with him. I love it.
And I've
Do you
learned
want
so
to
much.
praise on him?
Yeah,
now?
well, I've learned so much. I watch Christian, and I can get bent on a scene and make sure, think, am I getting it right? Do I need to move on? Do I need to just, there's more coverage and say, do we need to go again? And I watch Christian, and he knows when it's time to move on, and he knows that, he thinks about all the coverage that we're gonna get, and he's like, well, if they don't have it here, I know where it's gonna come next, and I'll make it. Yeah, exactly. Because they're gonna find it, Rami, and I'm like, are you sure? I don't trust them. But inevitably that's what happens. So, yeah, I've learned a lot from working with Christian, and how prepared he wants to be, and then how comfortable he can be on set. So there's something to be said about that, is knowing, doing the work and coming in and enjoying the time you're on set. So it's a pleasurable experience, because sometimes I run myself into the ground and I'm like, this should be more fun. But it's always fun with him. We have a really good time, and for some reason,
even if we're slapping each other around or something, still,
and things seem to move really quickly between us.
Yeah, no,
there is chemistry there. It's odd, but somehow.
I don't know what's going on here. Cheers.
I see a spin-off, the Comedy Hour.
Yeah.
Rami, talk about those voiceovers. How much of a challenge is that for you to do that when you're sort of basically saying the complete opposite of what we're seeing you act?
Oh, I thought about when I was reading it, I was like, I can really get away with so much in this voiceover. I really have to contain what I'm doing with my face, because I'm going to say exactly what's going on in my mind. So there's the opportunity to play the exact opposite, on screen. And it was really cool, because when I was done, I could almost tailor something. I could change some things with the voiceover, and I'd look at the scene, and I'd be able to manipulate even more so what I was doing and saying with what I did on a looping stage.
An ADR.
Yeah.
Cool.
On the pilot, on what you just saw, I think I had almost all of the voiceover memorized. So it was daunting to do, and I have not done it since because it was just so hard to do. But it was very helpful to have that in my head the whole time and know exactly what my subconscious was thinking, because as actors, we try to do that all the time, have that subtext running through. I actually had it word for word, verbatim in my head. So that was a really cool thing to play around.
Lucky you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was easy.
That's great.
I might have the easiest job, I guess.
I know we've all just seen the pilot, but how much of the show did you guys all know in advance? So how much are you playing to what you know is coming, or are you just seeing episode by episode?
Well, I think I'll take this. I think
Thank
the most interesting thing about doing TV is growing with your character, because we actually don't, we had gotten the episode 2 and 3 like before we started filming, and then after that we started only getting the episodes, like a week before we'd start filming, and we had some idea of what was going to happen. But a lot of the small nuances or even some events that happened we didn't know, or I didn't know. And so it's so interesting to get the new script and see that, and then almost like discover things about yourself or your character that you like didn't know previously. And I'd sit there and be like, oh, well then I wish I knew that for episode 3 or something, because I feel like I could have played that different. And then you come back and it's like how art imitates life, where isn't that how it is in life, where like if I knew that now,
Oh, yeah.
I would have done that different then.
Retrospect.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
So I feel
Oh, man.
I feel like you have to stay in the moment with your character.
Yeah.
And grow with that, and
Right.
and so it also makes it so exciting, because we'll all read it and be like, no, what happens next?
Yes.
And freaking out, and so it's exciting to get like the next script.
To be at
also.
the read-throughs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is fun. Yeah, I love that. Sorry, that's...
Without giving too much away, can you each of you talk about how much you relate to your characters?
Wow. Let's see. I like this guy. He's definitely... I like the mysterious aspect and quality, and I think Sam, again, does a really nice job over the coming episodes of keeping it sort of, reining it in as much as possible. I like that. I like that he's an adult. He's kind of in charge. So what do you want me to say? Those are great aspects of the guy. And am I like that at all? No. Maybe with my dogs. That's about it. Yeah, it's
Fair enough.
Only arena where I can express some Mr. Robot type qualities, I think. Yeah. Oh, it's good times. Okay, you go now.
Okay. I'm hoping the answer is no.
Am I like him?
No, how can you relate to him at all? In any
I
ways?
can relate to him quite a bit, actually. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do. Yeah, he's just a very complicated young man. He's lonely. I can relate to that. Who can't relate to feeling lonely at times? Feeling like they live in a society that is bent against them sometimes. Not necessarily me in my position now, but I think relating to him, I relate to him through all of us in a sense, which helps. But yeah, I think about him self-medicating in a certain way. I think we all do that. His choice is kind of, it's pretty drastic, but who doesn't, who's not on prescription pills these days? Who doesn't take more than they should every once in a while? What's my dosage? Oh yeah, who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly. One's good.
One's good, two's better! Yeah, and there's this aspect of him who, he wants to be special. I think that's something that that everyone in the show has across the board. They want to do something special. I certainly do. I think everyone here aspires to that to a certain degree. And there are moments when I think I'm doing something altruistic, and there are moments when I'm like, that's pretty fucking selfish. And so that's Elliot, too. I mean, there are moments when you're like, I start thinking, why are you doing this, man? Are you doing this for yourself, or are you really trying to change the society you live in?
I feel like I can relate to my character a lot. She is, we only got to see like a small clip of her in the pilot, but I don't know how many of you guys have been watching the show, but which should be all of you. But I think that she's very complicated and complex, and you kind of see this progression of her developing throughout the series, and I think that her tenacity and perseverance that she has, I can relate to, and being so passionate about something and not letting anything get in your way, in a different degree is, I can relate to that as well. But I feel like she is like the incredibly unstable version of myself. And I think most characters that you play are like you like either like heightened to the extreme or on the other end of the spectrum. If that makes sense.
It can be very therapeutic, right?
Yeah.
You go to work and you
Work some shit out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's vital for us to have that outlet. Otherwise, we'd all be in trouble.
Portia.
Yeah, I mean, I think Angela is kind of unpredictable. I think that was the most fun when I sat down with Sam when we first started, knowing that she was just going to change so much during the course of the season. But I don't know. I think there's a part of her, I think, that speaks so much to this generation. Like this idea that if you do the right thing and you go to law school and you get this degree and then you're going to get this job and then you're just going to move up, and that's just going to happen if you work hard and you do the right things. And I think slowly she starts to figure out that actually that's not the way that it works. And whether or not you have to like compromise who you are to be able to attain success and what that internal struggle feels like. And, when I was doing research before we started filming, like I had a friend in law school and she had a couple really similar stories that like you saw in the pilot and like what that feels like. And so I definitely relate to that aspect to, you won't stop at nothing, but in the end, I mean, this wasn't in the pilot, but one of my favorite moments in her whole arc is when she thinks she's doing the right thing by going after Terry Colby and going after Evil Corp, and she deeply morally believes that it's the right thing to do, and inevitably she hurts people doing it. So when you have to pick two things, like when you're put up against the wall and you have to make the best of two wrong decisions, what do you do? And I think we've all been there in some way or another, and I just really identified with that, and I thought that was just that's something that was so important to me. When talking to Sam before we started filming it, I was very excited about that kind of like turn for her and like showing that about, being like also a young woman in the corporate world and what that can look like. Not to get too political, but yeah, I mean, I totally relate to that struggle, definitely.
What about for the rest of you? Did you have favorite scenes for your characters, as much as you can reveal?
That is the real trick. It's like, the not being able to reveal stuff, is frustrating. I just can't wait for people to see the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, working with all these guys, it's just, it's great. I don't know, working with you, they're all fun. The arcade scenes are great. I really enjoyed doing those. I love, the scene we did breaking stuff, and that was really great,
Yeah.
Again, very therapeutic. Yeah, really got to.
Saving on those therapy bills.
Yeah, exactly. Got to get a lot out there. It was nice. Yeah.
SAG does cover.
Yes, that's right. We're in the right place. Yeah. It's good.
Talk about filming in New York, because we get to
Oh.
see a side of New York that I don't think is ordinarily seen on film.
Oh.
What has that meant to you?
It's been a dream.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Running around, yeah.
I was just gonna say, for me, literally one of my dreams has been to film in New York. So it really has dream come true.
Yeah, and without a doubt. I mean, and there was no guarantee that it was going to remain in New York. I mean, we did the pilot in New York. We were using all the New York subways and those locations, and it was amazing. And you just can't double New York. It's too hard and too obvious. I mean, New York just has so much character and texture and rawness and depth to it, and I think really creates a very interesting character in this particular show. So I'm particularly very grateful. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
should tell the story about shooting when you had to shoot really quickly outside
In Times Square.
in time. No, yeah, when you had in the end of the episode.
Oh, in the pilot.
Oh.
In the
Yeah.
pilot.
Just how,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we,
Crowd control.
with crowd control. We were in Times Square and we were on a time crunch, and we were shooting. It was around. It's supposed to be for 4 or 5 p.m. I don't know. And
During the day, right? I mean, it was great. Yeah, it was crazy.
yeah, during the day, and
Yeah.
it was in the fall, so the sun was about to set. And we only had we had a limited amount of time, and everybody, 10 minutes. So, and luckily we had a Steadicam operator at that point, and so we were just flying in the middle of Times Square, trying to compose shots and put together what we absolutely needed, and people were crowding around, and as soon as the director would call action, I swear, a swarm of people would just come into the shot.
Really?
And look right in the camera, and I was like,
As soon,
we only have 10 minutes to do this.
as soon as they heard action.
As soon as it was like,
Yeah, they were
action
just
everywhere.
yeah, so I'd try to hold them up. I'd be like, listen, we're all going to have
Yeah.
a great time as soon as we get this shot.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about the show.
Right.
I'll give you everything you want.
Oh my God.
Yeah, just try to remain, as far back as you can. And
But
sure enough, as soon as they called action, boom,
Yeah.
everybody converges again. It was
Yeah.
like,
You
okay.
guys have to come up with like a code word or something? I mean,
That would have been smart.
why? I mean, I would have said cut.
Right.
That would have been,
It would have been so confusing, but that would have
no,
been...
but that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
You got to be smarter.
well, when
Man,
you watch
Cut
it,
and then cut.
yeah, you can see the people like in the corners staring if you actually pay
Yeah, you
attention.
can.
But most movies that film in Times Square, because there's no crowd control,
Right.
watch and you'll see all the people.
Oh yeah, like Birdman.
Yeah.
But that worked. I mean, that was.
It did work,
Yeah, I mean, he was running through and people were filming it, and it was.
Yeah.
Right? God, I love that. That was really good. Just as an aside, that was really good.
But it is cool. I mean, walking down the streets, it puts you in character.
Oh, yeah.
There's less to do, that's for sure. You just start taking your surroundings.
Yeah.
So many of the people on screen were just New Yorkers that we caught. They
Take the
they'll walk
59th
around.
Street Bridge to work, you
Yeah.
know, right there, Silver Cup. It was just like, are you kidding me? It was, I mean, that's where they did 30 Rock and
Yeah.
Sex and the City and shows like that. So
And Girls Now.
Girls Now, yeah. So it was.
Lena Dunham is awesome.
Yeah. And you can still smell Alec Baldwin's cologne in there.
I thought that was you.
Just remnants.
Guess I have a thing for Alec, too. Okay.
I rolled around on the carpet trying to absorb it as much
You
as
guys need to
possible.
get a room.
Yeah,
We should have separated them.
retrospect.
Not to
we
get
say
too.
What were we thinking?
I did ask you about chemistry. I set this up. Only myself to blame. Not to get too deep, but what message do you think the show is trying to send? I know, I brought the room down. Look at me. Oh.
Where's Sam when you need him?
Yeah,
I
I know.
know.
The creator is the guy to.
There are a
Here we
lot of
go.
messages.
Yes,
you
go.
know, I think you can look at Angela's character, and you can look at the social contrast that define what a woman like that is supposed to be, and how she kind of flies against that, and sometimes maybe fails and maybe doesn't, but at least she's taking it up on herself to do something about her situation and to change the way, people see her in her position. And I think that can be said for everyone. I mean, you play such a strong character in this and have something to say, and people generally look at hackers as, I think of them as men, and here's a bright, beautiful woman who is confident and as capable as anybody else doing that. And then here's a man who you think is, pretty reckless and audacious, yet he's asking all of us in a certain way to do something outside of ourselves. And, he's taking a guy like me, Elliot, and allowing him to feel some sort of confidence. He's imbuing him with a certain confidence. It may be reckless, but at the same time, the show is getting, I think it could have the opportunity to say, that things aren't as impossible as we think they are. Not everything is impossible to a certain degree, and that we can change things. And maybe by questioning if we're doing it for ourselves or if we're actually doing it for the right reasons, it can allow us to go to a place where we do try to do it for the betterment of all of us, and in doing so, we will all strive as a society at its best. It's also entertaining, very entertaining.
Yes.
I think one of the great, there are so many messages from the show, but I think one of the coolest things about the show is not so much as giving a message as it is making you think and prompting questions and things about politics and society and people's roles in it and what's right and what's wrong. And it really one of the reasons I liked it so much is it says things that most people don't say and makes you think about what we are doing and what is going on, and if we have any sort of power in it. And I think it makes you think, and I think the message there is wake up.
One of the other things I love about the show is that you sort of have to watch the episodes closely. You can't sort of multitask. You have to pay attention. There's a lot going on. How much fun is that for you to play? Do you realize that as you're making it? Does it feel like a deeper experience to you compared to other experiences you've had, other shows that you've worked on?
I mean, Sam has done such a phenomenal job, I think, of creating very beautifully drawn characters. And it's true. It's everything in it does really matter, and you really do need to pay attention. I have always said that it's definitely not a multitasking type of show. I mean, you do have to sort of focus, and something that happens in episode 2 will come back in episode 4, and if you didn't pay attention then, you might miss that there. So, and I really respect Sam for having thought all of that through. I haven't had an experience with someone before who really did have a full-on game plan and vision and how this whole thing was going to map itself out, and have an ending too, which is just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I go through everything now with just a fine-tooth comb and don't take anything at face value. I'll read it once and I'm like, okay, that's what he wants me to think. What am I supposed to think? What's underneath this all? And it's the truth. I mean, everything is done for a reason, and I'm trying to examine everything as much as I can, because I'll be 3 episodes down the line and I'll be like, oh shit, that's what he was doing in 2. That's why that was so important. That's when I argued with him, I shouldn't have argued, because of course he had a plan. Shut up, Rami.
Yeah.
All right, I want to get to some of your guys' questions.
Great.
All right, this is from Mike for Rami. Who do you coach with, and how long have you worked with him or her?
I run a lot of stuff with Carly. Carly can be a tremendous help. Really. very smart, and I think sometimes she knows Elliot better than I do. I coach. Right now for the show, I'm coaching with this guy named John Markland, who he gets me to a place where I'm just delving into this guy in a very, very deep way, and it's not about running lines or saying things in a particular way. It's just about really getting into, getting underneath his skin and in his bones and just knowing him inside and out, and really going to some dark places with him, and that's, I enjoy that. I really enjoy that aspect. But yeah, he's been really good. I've been watching him work with a lot of young actors that I've seen their careers just escalate in the last few years. So he's a really cool guy, and he lives right by me, so it's great. Drops by, we make coffee, we hang out, and we talk about the show. It's fun.
All right, Christian, this one's for you from Juliet. She's been a huge fan since Heather's in Pump Up the Volume.
Thank you.
Excellent choices. Do you have a favorite role that you've played?
Yeah, I mean, it would probably be one of those, I suppose. But I have always been partial to, Happy Harry. I just Pump Up the Volume was a fun movie. I think I was like probably 20 when I made it, and it was just a great experience. I loved the character. I loved the sensitivity of it. I think it was, in a lot of ways, ahead of its time and how it dealt with some of those issues, and I was very proud to be a part of it, and I liked the character a lot.
Okay. This one, I would agree.
Thank you.
This one's for everyone. I'm just gonna throw it out to everyone.
Okay.
What is it in the script that makes you want to do a project? Is it more the content or the medium?
Content.
Content, for sure.
Yeah.
I would say for me, since no one else is talking, it's something that grabs my attention and something that a character or story or, just anything that I think is good material.
And maybe also a little scary. Right? Nice, yeah.
Yeah, you like that.
I like that. Yeah, I like to scare myself a little.
Yeah, I mean, when this show, the one response I keep getting is, I can't believe this is on USA. And people are still responding to it. People, the criticism of it has been great. Can you say that criticism is good? Can you, Debra?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's positive.
Yeah, positive. So, people will find good content anywhere. And this day and age, especially on TV, you can really dig into a role more than more than you can in an hour and a half or 2 hours of a film.
It's like the new world of independent feature almost.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. we have a consensus. All right, last question. I know. Oh, I'm sad. What have you learned about hacking?
Wow.
How easy it is to be hacked.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned after being hacked four,
Oh my
five
God.
times now.
Wow. Really, you
Yeah.
have?
Yeah, it's just like, now it's just, I'm just used to it.
Oh my God.
Okay, I've been hacked another day.
Yeah, I constantly get emails of like, someone's in your emails, someone's in my Instagram, and after it happened the first couple times, I bought a new computer and I tried to get rid of stuff, but now I've just kind of succumbed to the fact that, people are just reading my boring emails. I figured they kind of get bored at this point.
They're pretty boring.
Are you the one doing it?
Nice, dude. That's the greatest.
We found your culprit.
Yeah, seriously. That explains it. Never mind. Yeah, I don't know. It's really scary. I mean, okay.
So good.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought that we had this kind of meeting where we were, told all this stuff about hacking and double verification and how people can watch you on your webcam and how easy it is. It's not difficult. And even when the light isn't on, that people are listening to you through the microphone and watching you. on your
That's
webcam.
possible.
And
Very possible.
very possible. Like, super easy. Google it. I mean, it was so bizarre. Like, when we were all sitting there, he was like, okay, like, this is how you hack the Navy. Da, da, da. And then, like, he brought up all of the, I don't remember anything, but, like, code, but, you know, how to research all these confidential documents. And I think that's what I've learned, like, how, you know, easy it is for your privacy to be hacked and how 60% of people are hacked and don't know it. And, you know, really scary things like that.
Okay, I'm not sleeping tonight.
Yeah. I think what's really terrifying, I think we've learned a lot of scary things, because I think hackers actually now have the most power in the world, because they can control anything you can think of. Like, you know, my dad's a doctor, and he was telling, even like at hospitals, like when you're hooked up to those machines, when your medicine's being dispensed, like someone can hack into that, change it, stop it, do anything. You know, airplanes, anything in the entire world,
Stock exchange,
yeah,
all that.
can be hacked and manipulated and controlled. And, you know, it's
A major
terrifying.
studio.
Yeah, major studio. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah.
Crazy.
And what we learned
That would
too
never happen.
Never. Come on.
is that whoever did that, like, you can't do that overnight. Those had to be in their system for like 6 months prior, and you have no idea. And that's like the scariest thing. I was like, well, what do you do if you get hacked? And he's like, nothing. There's nothing you could do. And I'm like, well, how do you get them out of there? He's like, you can't.
No.
On that note.
Yeah,
I want to end on a
That might
happier
feel very
note.
cozy and
Yeah,
warm.
so we're all gonna die.
Yeah, throw your computer out the window immediately.
Thank you all for watching.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for coming. Thanks to the cast. You guys have been fantastic.
Thank you, Debra.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.